Hey Scott, how do we make fresh tortillas at home?
So today on WTF, we're going to be covering calcium hydroxide and how to nixtamalize corn for pupusas and tortillas. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Chef Scott Guerin.
And I'm Janie Wang, the owner of Modernist Pantry. Today, Scott and I are going to be talking all about calcium hydroxide and how you can use it to make these delicious tortillas and pupusas.
Yes.
So it's going to be a very, very demo-heavy episode, so definitely stick around and watch us make some stuff and hopefully eat some stuff as well.
Sure.
So Scott, what is calcium hydroxide?
Calcium hydroxide is a strong base. It's used to lower the pH of ingredients and give them different properties like we would do in this nixtamalization here. So what we're going to do is
I can't even say that word, nixtamalization.
Yeah, so we're making nixtamal, which is, I have some corn kernels, white corn over here boiling, and I'm going to add the calcium hydroxide, which will change the starches in them and make them a little bit more gummy, so we can then make these really great tortillas and pupusas.
Okay. And I know that like some few of our other ingredients, this one comes with a warning on the back. Is it safe to handle? Do you need to do special gloves or anything for it?
It is a strong base, so it is a high in alkaline. But this one you don't need to worry about it creating a caustic burn on your skin or anything like that.
Okay. So do you want to explain a little bit about what nixtamalization? I can't say it. Nixtamalization is.
Like I said, it changes the chemical makeup of the corn pretty much, so you can have that nice, almost a sticky dough just out of corn and water. Okay,
and it is kind of a traditional technique, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's very simple technique, and where they found that this worked is when they were originally grinding corn. They would do it on limestone in near a river, and they could see that it was changing the texture of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's super awesome. Well, let's get to it. What are we
doing?
Very
simply, I just have 1,500 grams of water and 400 grams of corn in here, and I boil it for about 10 minutes. And with calcium hydroxide, you want to use it in about 0.5%. This is 8 grams, so it's just about 0.5% of the total weight of the recipe.
Okay, so not just of the corn, but
Correct.
Corn plus water. Got it.
Yes. So I'm going to add this directly to my water. And then if I give it a quick stir, kind of get that calcium in there, you'll immediately notice the color change. So the outside of the corn, the part that always gets stuck in your teeth if you eat popcorn, that is what's changing color. The inside is staying that beautiful bright white. So that white corn is now this kind of crazy yellow orange color. So I'm going to let that go just for about a minute more, and then I take it off, cover it, let it sit for a day.
Okay, and I know that you already had this going when we started, so how long do you boil it for, simmer for?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
So you just slightly want to cook the corn. You don't want it to, cook all the way and be mushy or anything like that. So you leave it on here, but you can see the beautiful color.
Yeah, that looks super orange.
And after about a day, I've already washed this a little bit, but I have these corn kernels, and I've peeled a few of them, but I'll show you. It's very simple. You just wipe it off with your fingernails, and you take off the germ on the bottom. And you're left with this really perfect little white corn kernel, and the skin comes right off. It makes it very easy to peel. Really nice. Yep, so we can discard of these, and we save all these little ones. It can be a little time consuming. I like to put them in like a colander, with very fine holes, and I just rub it against that, and it'll help peel off all those skins. That's a good tip if you don't want to it's going to take a little while.
A couple dozen little corns.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
So I'm just going to move this off to the side. So I then take that, and I add a little bit of water to it, and I just put it in a food processor, and you blend it up, and you blend it up. And then you get this dough. Ooh. So it's able to make a really beautiful dough. If your dough is too wet, I would give it a little bit of time. It kind of has to, work with the starches that are in there, and it'll eventually make a big, beautiful, easy to form dough. It's not really sticking to my hands too much. That's exactly what you want. So what I'm going to do is make a pupusa really quick. It's very simple. I'm just going to pat it out. Usually you can make it into like a little bowl, and you can stuff like cheese and things in here.
Ooh.
For these larger pieces of cheese, so what I did is I took some mozzarella, I put it in some paper towels into a vacuum sealer bag. If you have a food saver at home, it works just the same. Or you can put it into a plastic bag and put like a book or two on top of it, and that'll help pull out that moisture. So getting that moisture out is very important for this, because we want a nice stringy cheese. We don't want the milk kind of pouring off of it.
Yeah.
If you can get like a Oaxaca cheese, get that, because that's like the traditional cheese for this. But if you have mozzarella or low moisture mozzarella, use that. And make sure you add a little bit of salt to it, or else it's going to be pretty bland.
Is there any seasoning in the dough? Or
Yep.
it's just,
Yeah, I always add salt to the dough itself. So I take my mozzarella, I put it right in the center, and then just a little bit on top, wrap it around, and we have a nice pupusa. If you notice that it's too much around the sides, you just pinch a little bit off. That's totally fine. Yep. So if you were just to have like the shredded mozzarella, you can make those little cups, put it right inside, and then really press it out and get it nice and flat.
Nice.
I like these to be a little bit thicker, because we can do really fun things. I'm just going to leave this here. Is with these pupusas that I already made, I can then break them. We can get, you can see all the beautiful cheese that's in there and everything. Okay?
Yeah, and I think if the cheese is warm, and we have a video of this that's
Yeah.
going to be on Instagram today, you can get it
big
like
pull.
really nice. Yeah, so this recipe is available on the blog, so click on the link that's in the description and get this recipe, because it's super tasty and it's very different.
Yeah, it's very, very good, very easy to make. So move these off to the side. And one last thing that it's included in the recipe is Curtido. So it's like a El Salvadorian sauerkraut. So it's cabbage, carrots, onions, red chili flake, and oregano, and you just ferment it using one of the Sterilock lids.
And this is super good. This is like one of my favorite things to eat, because it goes on pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's
right?
wonderful. So
Yeah.
it's basically like a little cabbage salad.
And if you do want to learn, if you're like, what is this thing right here? So this is called a Sterilock, and we covered that in our fermentation episode, which is episode 112. So if you go to number 112, the link is in the description. You'll be able to find out all about fermentation lids, including the Sterilock.
Yep. So if you don't want to make pupusas, say you just want tortillas, it's very simple to do.
Okay.
What I do is I take 25 grams, or about an ounce, of the dough, and then you press it out. I put it in between two sheets of parchment paper, and then you can use a tortilla press. You can find them pretty much at every grocery store, or you can find them online really easy. Just press them out, and then you put them in a pan, a dry pan. You don't want any oil. Put them in a dry pan and just cook them off.
Cool.
Yep. And same with these. I just put these into like an oiled pan and got a nice sear, so they're crispy on the outside and nice and cheesy on the inside.
Wonderful.
So we're actually going to make a quick little taco to kind of show
Yay.
how nice they are. And I
Love
have some
tacos.
braised beef shank here, so I'm just going to put a little bit in here. All right. And then we have a few other things, so I'm going to make a nice, beautiful taco. And a little bit of white onion. I have a chimichurri here. This is a red chimichurri. Brazilian chimichurri has a lot of Fresno peppers in it. Put that right over the top. And then a few pieces of cilantro. It's as simple as that. We have those. And you can have, if you want to eat that taco, go right ahead.
Yay. And this is like nothing like the grocery store taco for sure.
Yeah, you can definitely feel it. If you want to store them, I would suggest making them and then just wrapping them in like a paper towel and into a plastic bag and seal it. And as you can see, it's not cracking on the bottom or anything like that. So it'll take a little bit of time, and if you follow our recipe properly, which is in the description below, you'll be able to see, there's a certain amount of time that you need to, cook these for, and it's a very short amount of time, because if you let it go too long, they'll get too brittle and they will fall apart.
Yeah, and I love the texture on them. You can really get that, I want to say freshly ground feeling, but is that what it is? But it's super good.
Yeah, you get a little bit more texture than you would of the processed ones, because those are so ground, you know. into oblivion. These feel handmade and homemade.
They are. And I think some people might be wondering, all right, sounds great. I can make tacos and pupusas. What else can I do with calcium hydroxide?
So we actually made a recipe not too long ago. It was episode 133, and that was for a 0-calorie, keto-friendly noodle called shirataki. And that is where you take the konjac gum in that episode, and then you add the calcium hydroxide, and that is what sets the konjac gum into this really kind of amazingly textured noodle with no calories.
So it's like two really unique things that you can do with this ingredient. Because what happens if you just try to ground up corn and you don't do this?
It won't come together in this way. It'll just be ground up corn. It'll fall apart. And it won't be like sticky as it is here.
Yeah, and it is super good. So on the blog, we're going to have recipes for the tortillas, the pupusas.
Yeah, and the Curtido.
And the Curtido.
Yep.
Okay. And if you do want, Scott's chimichurri sauce or braised beef shanks, you have to write into us, and then we will put it up in a future episode.
Yeah. If we get enough votes for it, I'll write it and it'll go up on the blog in a future episode, whatever happens to be. But right now, it's ours to keep.
Yeah. So hopefully you're gonna try this at home, and if you find that it's not as hard as you think it is to make tortillas at home.
No, it's very simple.
Fresh. Yeah.
Just takes time.
Yeah, it's true. So we're gonna be very excitedly. I'm gonna finish this taco. And from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie Wang.
And I'm Scott Guerin. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. And turn that bell on because it notifies you when we drop a new video.
If you like any of today's recipes, go to blog.modernistpantry.com. There you'll find recipes, Ask a Chefs, and tips and tricks, and more.
If you have a friend who you think would like this video, share it with them.
To get any of these great ingredients, just go to our website, www.modernistpantry.com.
And until next time, we'll be here in the Test Kitchen, helping you create memorable and magical experiences.